Building your own online store can feel a bit overwhelming, especially if you've never built a website before or don't have any design experience. Luckily, we have page builders. Today, we're going to be hopping into Pagefly, which is an app on the Shopify App Store that helps you create websites and is mostly drag and drop. If you've never heard of Pagefly, I definitely recommend checking it out. It's what I use to build all of my stores and actually what I used to launch this brand about 2 weeks ago. As you can see, the brand is generating multiple thousands of revenue per day. And my goal for this video is to not show you how to copy your websites, your competitors' websites, but more so just show you the back end and the tools I would use and the strategies I would use when building a website. So without further ado, the brand we're looking into today is called Drop Bottle. Now, a drop bottle essentially is just this water bottle with a gold lid, although has definitely had success and even had Oprah mention their brands. They've obviously spent time, doing CRO testing, just really put a lot of time and effort into their website. So essentially what we're doing today is recreating this website, although in Pagefly. And we're going to do this just so I can show you that you don't necessarily need to go in and spend a ton of money on custom coding, and you can achieve the same look through a page building app. Custom coding in the long run, it does increase the speed of your website, although it can be pretty cost heavy in the front end. And then, if you want to make any changes to your website, you have to pay your web developer rather than just making the changes yourself. First off, as far as building this, you'd want to, if you don't already have a store, make sure you sign up and start your free trial with Shopify. You go to the app section and then just go to the Shopify App Store. Now, I use Pagefly. There's a ton of different page building apps. There's Gem Pages, there's Shogun page builder app, but I like to use Pagefly. So you just type in Pagefly. Should be this one here, and they have a free plan. The thing I like about Pagefly is you actually get one free homepage, one free landing page. So you can essentially, do this entirely free. Before you start to expand and add more product pages and stuff, you would just open up the Pagefly app. It'll kind of sync up with your store. Whenever I'm creating a new page, whether it be a homepage or product page, I essentially, what I would do is actually create from a template. That way I'm not starting from scratch and I have something to work off of. And then I would just spend time, changing the pictures, changing the colors, moving the sections around. And I would look at my competitors, what styles worked for them, and then try to find something similar. So, if today we're going to be working on a landing page, I would look at their landing pages, find what worked best with my brand, and then just start that as a template and then just start changing things around. Alrighty, so to get the ball rolling, so all I've done up until this point is just add in one of those templates I was just showing you. Now we're actually going to focus on the mobile view today, because mobile is the most important out of all of them. I would say over 80% of your traffic, as long as you're running ads, should be coming in from mobile. So if you've never used Pagefly, you can just use this button right here and go from all devices. They have laptop, tablet, and mobile. So we will be starting in the mobile section. Now, one other thing I'm going to do, I already downloaded all of Drop Bottle's pictures on their website just so we can use this for educational purposes. Although, I also have this little program, it's just called a color picker on Mac. I know if you are using Google Chrome, you can download a Google Chrome extension, which does the same thing. But essentially, I'm just going to go through Drop Bottle's website, and I'm going to use this eyedropper tool and just make sure I'm getting all the hex codes for their brand's colors. Now again, I wouldn't recommend ever copying a brand's colors. You can use websites like Coolers or even Canva and just pick colors for your own brand that go well together. But again, the purpose of this video is to recreate Drop Bottle's website, so I'm just going to be making sure we can copy all the same colors over. So just going through their website, getting all the colors, and then we can hop into that. Usually when I'm designing pages, I like to take inspiration from the top 3 competitors and kind of mix and get my own style going in on there. But for this video's purpose, we're just going to straight up copy Drop Bottles. You would go under styling and then go under background color here. And I'm just going to put that hex code that I got from their website. So now we have the same color there. Okay, so it's actually just a pure white. So we'll do that there. Next would be this thing here. It doesn't look like they have a vendor type, so we'll delete that. Better yet, rather than deleting that, we're just going to change the vendor type. You can change this on the back end of your product, so under Shopify and then products, but we can just do, we'll just copy what they have here. So 650 milliliters and then 22 ounces. I don't know exactly which font they're using, and I know you can inspect the page to figure it out, although I'm pretty sure it might be a custom font. Although I would just go here under fonts. We will just add a few and then figure out which one looks nice. So you can go to Google Fonts. One font I like to use on a lot of my stores is actually called Quicksand. quicksand, this one here. It's a nice clean look here, so I'll show you what it looks like. Yep, so pretty similar. I mean, again, you don't just want to copy verbatim what your competitor has, but we're gonna go through, and so it looks like they're using blue text for the name of the product. So that's gonna be under styling and then content color. So we're gonna change that. And for the hex code, just use the same color they're using. So under the title, you're gonna click color and then paste that hex code there. One cool tip, now this doesn't work with all fonts, but you can see under font family, if you go under more settings, you can go to font weight, and it looks like on theirs, you can see it's a bit thicker than ours. So we can actually change the font weight to bold and play around with it. So semi-bold we'll do here. But just a quick little tip there. So for mobile view, I would use anything above like 16 font, otherwise it's gonna be too small to see. And you can play around with it. Like once you build out the website, I would publish it, go on your phone itself and just see like how the words look. Moving along, it looks like on their page, they have these pictures down below. We can get this by going into Shopify, product media. Yeah, so I'm gonna drag this one in and it will, we'll delete the old one here. So when you get things like this, essentially Pagefly, how it works, I would use this, I guess it's called like a cookie trail, or I don't know what it is, but you can use these to navigate like different sections, columns, and rows. This was really confusing to me when starting. But essentially we're just gonna delete that because that's the old image column. So we have a good start here. As you can see, we have the bottom pictures like they do. And then for their website, I don't know if they have any, it's called Page Nation, but essentially like scrolling through the photos. Now for reviews, I like to use Ali reviews, and that's because you can import like AliExpress reviews and you can actually change the reviews to say things about your brand or insert pictures of or whatever pictures you want if you have any custom UGC. But for the purpose of this video, we will be using the Ali Review app. So I would essentially, okay, reviews, here we are, Ali Reviews, here it is. So check that, close, click Ali Reviews, and then so we have a few different options. So star review in product, so this is what they've essentially used, and I'm just going to drag this. It looks like they have it right below their title, above their price. It's going to show this box like this. So whenever this happens, or whenever you're using Pagefly and also integrating third-party apps, you're going to get boxes like this. And what this means is when you publish it, you're going to edit these settings in that particular app. So if that makes sense, like if I want to change the color of the stars and the size of the stars and all that, I'm actually going to go into the Ali Reviews app and change it all there. So Pagefly is more of just like the foundation, and then if you're using third-party apps, you'll change that in the specific app. Moving forward, so we'll have the stars, which we'll get to in a minute. Variant, we will hold off on the variant, we'll come back up to that, and we will continue moving down. So personally, I don't like countdown timers like this. They look pretty cheap. That was like drop shipping 2016. People are smart and they don't want to see 5-minute timers on the website. That just doesn't convert how it used to. And as you can see, they have these little checkboxes here. These are pretty easy to add. I would just go in and add a heading. I'm going to drag the heading into the column, and then this little option here, show icon. So it's going to add this little star, but you can actually click the star and then open the browser and just search check. And you can see they have something that's almost identical. So checkbox, and then we would want to change the checkbox color. So I'd go to styling and make sure you're still on checkbox. So click the checkbox, go to styling, and then under content color, I would use the same hex code which I saved earlier, so it's that one. And then it looks like, again, if you remember earlier, I mentioned the font size. So if we're just going to use quicksand for this website, I would probably go in here under more settings and make this more of a lighter look. And as you can see, it looks more similar to what they're doing now. And I'd probably shrink the font size a little bit. And again, you're going to want to play around with this once you publish it and actually look at it on your website. You want to make sure your customers can read what you have here. So I'm going to duplicate this out. Looks like they have 4 of them, and we can actually bring these closer together by going to styling, and then under margin, you can just play around with this. But for the top margin, I would do like a -20. So -20 looks like that might be too close. I do like maybe -10. Yeah, so it looks better. And one quick tip, rather than going to each individual column and doing -10, you can actually grab this, go to copy styles, and then just paste the styles out. So as you can see, it's looking pretty similar to what they've done, or at least a good start, and you haven't spent any money on custom coding. Okay, so continuing on, they have an add to cart button, but it's actually not even a button, it's just like text that lights up. I'm assuming they've split tested this and this is what they've found works best. Might not have been what I would have done, although we are going to copy them. So I would go to Shopify element, click add to cart, wait for this to pop up and drag this in. And this is going to be above our checkboxes, so right about there. Actually a little lower than that. Sometimes things when you're moving around get a little messed up. So we'll delete that column that created on accident. So to get their add to cart button, essentially it looks like they went to general, probably to full width button. So looks like this. And then under styling, we're gonna need to remove the background color. So we will do the same color as the website. And then it looks like it's black text. So content color, black text, go here. And then as you can see on their website, when you hover over it, it turns that blue color. So we'll just go to button state, and on hover, we want the content color to turn blue. So I'll make sure I'm grabbing the correct text code, copy that, on hover, and we'll paste that in. If you're bumping the font size, you do it on both normal and the hover state of the button. So, styling. So right here, we'll go font, and we'll just bump this to like 21. And make sure, like I said, you go to hover and change that to 21, because what will happen if you don't is, let's say hover is not changed, or if they don't have congruent things, this will happen. So it'll just like make it like super big. And sometimes I like to like bump it one higher, so it like kind of bumps it a little bigger, but it's up to you, kind of preference there. So we'll just change it to 21. And so far it's looking similar to their button. Continuing to move down, and they just have, it looks like a straight line. It's actually really hard to see. But it's right below the add to cart, above the checkboxes. So this thing can be challenging, but we want it after the add to cart. Got it. Looks like we have it here. You can mess with the like opacity. So like there's super hard to see. So essentially you would just bump this down or change the color. I don't even know what the point of theirs is actually. It doesn't look the greatest. Regardless, moving on, they have this limited stock availability. On their website is creating urgency, and they're pushing people to, I mean, the psychology behind it is to think that, you know, they're almost out of stock and that they need to purchase now. I would probably split test this. Again, I'm not sure if the countdowns or limited stock are the best option to proceed, but I mean, everything is worth testing. So we'll delete this, delete this. I believe Pagefly has something called a progress bar. Yeah, progress. So I don't know how well this will work. They might have used a third-party app, or, you know, theirs is more than likely custom coding, but I'm just showing you that we can get pretty close without having to spend anything. So going to progress bar, under general, we would only want one progress. We would go to color settings, copy all the same hex codes, so we just put all this stuff in here. I mean, a lot of this stuff is just kind of playing around and getting it to look how you want. For this, like, I don't know that we can make it look absolutely identical, but we can get pretty close. So, like, a workaround, like, I don't know how to delete this percentage, but instead of deleting it, I would probably just make it the same color as the website background, so that way it blends in. And then I would probably use the spacing, if I can find it, spacing here. Let's see if, yeah, so we'll just bump everything over. Again, I think this is a lot of what website building is just kind of playing around with it, getting it to work out and look the best as you can get it to look. We have a good start, and as you can see, like, don't give up. Like, there's always a way. Like, you can figure it out. For the bottle, like I said, theirs is probably custom coding. My way around this would probably just be grabbing a screenshot of the word the bottle, going to any website that will remove a background. So remove.bg is a good one if you don't have like Canva or Canva Pro. And as you can see, I just removed the background. I'll just go ahead and download it, allow, and once that's downloaded, we can go back to Pagefly, and we would just be, and you can see, like, this one's not perfect. So if I was going to launch this store, I would make sure like all the white was removed. So instead of this title, we are actually going to use an image. Drag this in here. I will delete this heading here, and then we're just going to import that same screenshot we took. Okay, got it uploaded here, and then select, and it definitely doesn't look, you know, super high quality, and that's just because I took a screenshot and essentially copied it. But again, this is just a workaround, something you can do if you've run out of options. I would probably design my own in Canva, so just getting something and going into Canva. If you've never used Canva, it's super great. Essentially, you can create a design. We'd go custom size. We would just do something like 1920 by 1080. Create new design. And then you can just add in text and then just play around with the elements. Canva has like a ton of free elements you can use. So I would just add a heading, the bottle elements. I would do like highlight. So, you know, it's something like that, probably with the opacity being a little bit more, sending that backward. So, I mean, you can recreate whatever you want or kind of add things to your own style and then just download this as a transparent image. Jumping back into Pagefly. So I would want to center this. Actually, you can center the whole column if you go like this. So again, we've effectively copied what they've done here. I'm going to use all of their text, paste it in here, and I'm not going to publish this website. This is just for educational purposes to help show you how to build a website. And one thing to notice, it looks like they're color breaking. And what color breaking is essentially, you see how this whole first section is white, and then they change colors to, I don't know what color this is, but whatever it is. And then if we scroll down, then they have this color here, and then back to white, and then they have this colorful one. So essentially, rather than your whole website being white, it's just something you can do to subconsciously like keep people's minds like interested in like the different colors. And I do this with my main brand. I definitely have seen an increase in conversion as far as like an all white store versus like color breaking. So that is kind of like the psychology of what they've done there. So for this section here, again, we're going to pull up our color picker here, use our eyedropper tool, and then it looks like we have the hex code here. So I'm going to click this section background, make sure it says section, go to styling, background color, and then just paste the hex in there. Go to add element, tabs, and they have the tabs on top. So we'll drag this in. Okay, so going to tabs, same thing, going to tabs, going to general, I'm going to delete that. We have two tabs, and it looks like they're left aligned. So styling, left align. So one thing to avoid is like you don't want like a ton of empty space here. So as you can see, we just shrink to this size. Every centimeter, every inch counts when you're scrolling on mobile. You want to maximize the info you're using. Back to this, they have a benefits tab and then a specs tab. So I would just change this to benefits and then the other one to specs. As you can see, the page kind of changes when you click each. This is just adding all of that content under here. And all this is an image, a heading, and a paragraph. So if I was gonna do that, I would go to layout. I would probably do something like a 4 layout, drag that in. And essentially there's like the 2x2 look. And then inside each column, I'd be adding, just like I said, I'd be adding an image, a headline, and a paragraph. So just to save time, I'll just do one of them, because you'll get the idea. So I drag this in, heading, paragraph, drag that below it. And then actually another tip you can do is if you're adding a new section or you're in between two sections, you can see this little blue button here, it pops up, it says add new section. So if you click that, Pagefly has a ton of, it's similar to the templates, but you can just bring it in if you're looking for one section. So right now we're looking for, I guess it's considered trust badges. Yeah, probably trust badges. I would probably just bring something like this in. We'll do insert, and then, you know, again, we're just gonna probably use these instead of our images. I would drag these in. Again, it's super easy to make these like icons on Canva. That's probably my go-to. And then mess around with the font, spacing, etc. The more time you spend in Pagefly, the easier things will get. It'll become like second nature to you. And honestly, I just suggest like clicking around, seeing what buttons do. I think the more you play around with it, like the more it'll make sense. Essentially, you know, you get the picture. You can basically replicate what they've done here. So far, you know, it's looking pretty good. Like I said, for the reviews, we're gonna edit that on the separate app. For the buy now button, it's technically a dynamic one, but we could just add our own. So add to cart. It's considered an add to cart button because you can change the function, and I'll show you what I mean. So if we place this here, I think it's best when you do a full width button. And then as far as add to cart, so for this one, if we wanted to make it a buy it now, we would just do go to checkout page. That way, like this one says stay on the same page and it's adding to cart. So for this one, we would just want to do go straight to checkout page. So button text, buy. Again, under styling, I would change the background to the same color, probably bump up the font size a little bit. And then one thing you can do to actually make it look better is go down to border style, give it like a 10-point border radius so you can see it kind of like rounds it out. I just rounded out the border, and then you can even add a shadow, and that just like helps the look of the buy now button. And then we're on to the next section. So right here looks like a new section. And what I mean by section is like if you hover over or like click around, you'll see like there's sections, there's rows. So for instance, like if I want to copy over this background color here, I can't just like it has to be an entirely new section, because the website looks at it as like a separate like I guess like column per se. So we would once again open our little color selector here. We have the hex code here for the background. Again, we're going to go to styling and then background color. Put the hex code in there. For this, you would do the same thing. If you wanted to do like a cool like word like this and highlight the bottom part, you would create something like that in Canva and then bring it into Pagefly as an image, just like we did for this one here. One thing you can do with the images, and they didn't do that on their website, but one thing I like to do is same with what we did with the buy it now button. If you go to styling, go to border, and then get like a 10 to 20 border on it. You can try 20 for this one. It kind of like rounds out the edges, and in my opinion, looks a lot nicer than just like the squares. You can also add the shadow to the images, and it kind of gives it this like pop feeling, like it's coming off the web page. So I like to do this on like all the websites I do. You can split test it with CRO or just kind of go with whatever you think looks best. We'll do that there. But moving on to the next section, let's go ahead and test it out. So we do white background. Yep. So that one worked. You know, if you can't figure something out, just keep pushing, because there's a way. If there's a will, there's a way. I hope as you can see me like building this page, it's giving you the inspiration or just like that, you know, confidence, and that it's not incredibly hard to go and replicate someone's website. I'm assuming Dropbottle has a lot of this custom coded, just because it might be a little faster for their page to load, although you know, it shouldn't stop you from trying to you know, build something on your own. Like I said, I think the skill of learning a page building app will pay off like 100 times over itself, just because you can go and build multiple stores and don't have to pay, you know, custom coder each time you want to try something new. I don't have any specifics. I'm just like eyeballing it to whatever looks best in my opinion. Moving on, scrolling down. Okay, so for this image, I didn't even notice until now that they had this like background. So like all you do, we'll go into Canva. We will do a new size. So we'll do create new design. We'll just do a 1080 by 1080. And then we will drag that same image in. Okay, so one with lemons, so it's this one here. You would just go to like elements, you'd do like square. If you were adding a border to the picture, you'd probably want to use like a square with a border. Although in this case, we'll just use this, make it a tad bigger than the picture, send it to back. Actually, it looks like it's just the bottom that's bigger. So do like something like this, change the color to, again, you'd want to make sure you use the exact hex code. So I would grab this, got that, just like that. So I would just share, download, and then make sure you do transparent background. Now, I'm not logged into my Canva Pro account, so I'm not going to be able to download this, but you would just download it, that image transparent, and then upload it in. So you click image, go to general, and you just put it here, and it would look identical to this. So I hope you're seeing like a common theme. You can essentially recreate anything in Pagefly, and it's relatively easy once you like understand the foundation. So this Oprah thing here, all this is to get like this section or this cool looking section, because like in Pagefly, all you can do is like single color backgrounds. They have very particular names for everything. Okay, so image, drag the image in. You go find an image of Oprah, or I guess whoever you are using to shout your brand out. Okay, and so for the background, you would just go to styling, background color, and then, so again, you'd probably use Canva. So for this, I would do like a 1080 by 1080. We'll delete this. And to create what they did, I would just do like a circle and you play around with it. So like that, I mean, essentially it looks like that's all they did. And then I'd grab this hex code. So for this one, I will just download because I don't need it to be transparent. So I'll download this out and select. And then you can click more settings because sometimes it does this, and then like center the background position and then like contain or cover. There we go. Moving on, I mean, we're almost to the bottom. What they have here is a accordion. So we would just search element, we'll do accordion, and then they have the one that has the pluses, so we'll just use that. As you can see here, all it is playing with the background colors, so I would probably make the background color white of the accordion, that way it blends in with the website. We just added a border, but we only added a border to the bottom, so like this. So that's all they did here. For the accordions, you would just go to general. You can name all of the accordions here. So frequently asked questions is essentially done. Pagefly actually has a great section for this. So if you remember from earlier, we're going to click this little plus and we're going to do client logos. We'll uncheck badges. And so essentially this is the same thing. So like we'll use this one just for an example. So if we select the section, I mean, this is all it is, like delete, delete, and we'll probably shrink this and shrink this, bring that up. And look at that. I mean, we're not gonna, I mean, if you wanted to put in your own, these are just images. So you'd go find like an image of Sephora or just like save this one if it lets you. Potentially just go save this onto my desktop, upload it as an image, and then put them in here because these are just images. So we have that section, and the last section we have is actually reviews. So we'll delete whatever else is here. For reviews, if you're using, so like I said earlier, I like to use Ali Reviews. And you would go find Ali Reviews, and then you do the carousel slider. So drag this in at the bottom. You're essentially done. Now, as far as all these settings, you would go to Ali Reviews, which we can hop over into and customize like how the stars look, what color the stars are. One last thing as far as like their variant options, Pagefly. So if you go back to Pagefly's like homepage, they have this thing called Pagefly add-ons, option swatches. And then you would essentially just add like your variants in, because if you have variants on your product, so on the back end, if I just show you like this product, I just created like a 1 single 2 friends pack and then a 4 pack. And so it's just a variant, and then save. And then Pagefly will pick this up. Like if you just refresh it, go in here, you just want to change. So like their variant, it looks like they're using, so like this one, label, it looks pretty similar. So we click save and then go back into our product page editor, go into Shopify, go into product variant. And I think we can just choose, I think if we choose any of them, it actually should give us the option to use our custom, not combine options. We'll do horizontal. So, you know, it looks similar, a little different, I guess. And then, so you can just play around with it. I mean, you know, it might not be perfect in this case, but it's pretty similar. And there you have it. If you guys learned anything in this video, whether it was through Pagefly or just building your store, if it gave you any encouragement to go build your store, make sure you give me a like and subscribe. I highly recommend checking out our Shopify blueprint, which is our head of Shopify, Josh Back, pulling the curtain back on one of his brands he took from 0 to 6 figures in 9 months or so. So definitely check that out. And then also our flagship course, Shopify, Ecom Freedom Shopify course, which is in the process of currently being overhauled and updated. Check that out while it's still at a discounted price before the price is raised. Until next time, I'll see you then.